The compassionate heart philosophy.
I was going to say hash browns and eggs.
Well, that's not what we're talking about today, but we could probably incorporate it somewhere. If you want to know about the compassionate heart philosophy, though, it's time to tune in.
Mama says namaste. Mama says namaste.
Making a family can be easy and fun.
Oh, yeah, but raising a family can be a whole different story.
From spouses to kids to the crazy daily grind, life often directs us away from connection and more into reactive chaos.
If you're tired of that cycle and are seeking something beyond the picket fence blues, this is the show for you.
I'm Ashley.
And I'm Nathan.
And we're here to take you from chaos to clarity by bringing awareness and intention into your home, not waiting for one day, and highlighting how
the uniqueness in each of us strengthens all of us.
Take a deep breath in and let's start a brand new day. With Mama says namaste.
So, back in 2019, I think.
Oh, man, has it been that long since we got married?
Man, we're going on 20 years, babe.
Know.
We've been married much longer than that. So back in 2019, when we were in our travels, we were RVing all over the states, and we landed in California. And we were visiting with my brother, and my nieces and nephew were with us, and we were having a beautiful time. And there was a sweet little stray cat that was in the campsite, or in the campground.
Oh, yeah, I remember this.
And
I had a sweet little girl that kept disappearing.
Right. And, I mean, Clara, being the little animal whisperer that she is, I mean, within an hour, she had this completely wild kitten coming up and, like, sniffing at her hand.
And then?
And she ended up befriending this cat. And, of course, at this point, now we're in this predicament. And at that point, we were completely shut off to cats. We so could have
I don't know if
cat.
it was a we.
Yeah, okay. So Nathan was completely
me.
shut off to cats.
I'll take full ownership of that.
There we go.
I've never been a cat person, really, or so I thought.
Never was. Yes, speak past tense.
Never was.
As I see you out there first thing in the morning cuddling with foster kittens.
Yeah, not when they're real little, but you're right. But yeah, I mean, it was one of those, as a parent, and I will say maybe particularly as a dad, because I don't know if there's a lot of moms like, no cats. Maybe there are. But
there are.
I guess it feels like somebody has to be the heavy to say no,
Well, okay, so we won't talk about what we have now in our house. But during this time, though, we decided that it was not a good idea for us to take on a stray kitten. And so here we have a kitten, and we needed to find a home. Long story short, as far as that one's concerned, we found a home for George. And he ended up going and living with a friend of a friend that was in California in the same area, whose daughter was about the same age as our girls and had just lost a kitten or just lost a cat, like an older cat. And so it was perfect timing. So we were so thrilled to find a home for George and let him live his best life. Now, the reason I share the story, though, is because that was that heart-wrenching time of having to say no to an animal with our kids. And that prompted some discussions. Or having to
say no to your kids about something that they would love and enjoy. Because it may not be an animal for everybody,
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. So, but what it did for us is, it opened the door beyond just navigating saying yes or no to an animal or to a thing for our children, and really going beyond to where else can we use this principle. And so what we mean when we say the compassionate heart philosophy, which is what we came up with after George, and that was George the cat, and that is that it means love without ownership. It's recognizing that we can invest in things, we can invest in people. I guess this is why I'm kind of discounting what you're saying about the things. It really, when we're talking people and animals, and this desire to show love or to save or to fix some being.
Yeah, I guess so.
There's we believe at this point, and it's been a hard practice we've had to work on as individuals and as a family for us to navigate what this is. And so, I mean, I'll speak for me and not just all we here, but to me, compassionate heart philosophy is love without ownership. It is being willing to love another being without a say on the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
And that is hard.
That is hard because you're trusting a lot of different players, a lot of different pieces that you don't have control over.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the beautiful thing about it, is it's kind of that idea of you feel like you have to hold on to so much to keep it, but you actually get more if you let go.
Yeah.
And it's a hard thing to try to express, I think, because it is like when you're holding on to stuff, your rationale for clinging is solid. Like if I let go of it, it may not come back. Like me thinking of Sweet George and what an amazing cat he would have been. I mean, we got these two little jerks, and that one dude was amazing. If I had known, if I could have already had a George, be like, oh nope, we already have one cat.
But when you talk about clinging to what you love, though, so today as we're airing this, it's May 9th. And on May 7th, it was my dad's birthday. So first birthday without my father here, on this physical realm here. And so as a tribute to him and his desires to be known for an understanding heart, we're reading his book, An Understanding Heart, every day in our 48 Days community. And as I was writing yesterday, I just decided, since I'd read the book before, actually have read it with the whole family. We've all read it through together last year. So this year I decided I'll just open it up randomly and just open up to any kind of random one.
That's my favorite way to read a book.
Right. Especially one like this where it's really is, you can do a chapter a day and they're all kind of disconnected, so you can do it whenever. So I was reading and it was all about generosity amidst abundance. And it was about being willing to recognize how to give beyond what you have and to have that feeling of abundance. And it kind of dawned on me. I've really, some of the things that we say a lot in our family, every action has a consequence and you reap what you sow. And right now we are definitely in big plant phase in our family. We're all about the plants. And, oh my goodness, we went to a flower field this past weekend and it was so magical. I picked it for Mother's Day and it was exactly what I wanted.
It was fantastic.
And I dragged both of our moms along and it was sweaty and probably not the best conditions for both of them, but
well, for a surprise, but they didn't know what they were getting into.
Yeah, that was my bad. Don't always surprise the moms. They need to be prepared. Anyway, all of that side tangent to get back to reaping and sowing. So coming with plants, I thought about that and I thought about how every true farmer knows that yes, you reap what you sow, and you sow way more than you're ultimately reaping. You give beyond yourself because you recognize that along with what you're going to harvest, you're going to lose some to the weather. You're going to lose some to the animals that are out there. You're going to lose some to maybe the wandering, traveler that goes by. There are all of these other people that are still able to benefit from some element of your impact that's going to be a part of that. And so I really believe that part of having an approach of abundance in life is recognizing that if I want a rich harvest, I'm going to sow even more than that so that it goes beyond just me. I mean, Native American, philosophy is very much of leaving some. Of anything. They do not rape and pillage.
They don't clear out a whole patch of something.
Right.
It's every other or every fourth.
Right. And in Dad's book, he quoted Deuteronomy, where in the Bible, in Deuteronomy, it's laid out exactly like that, like the Native American. Leave some for the weary and the traveler and the poor and the destitute. And it has like all of this stuff on don't take everything. Leave some for others.
And it kind of changes the whole perspective from look at what I found to look what we found.
Right.
And thinking about others in that process. But how often it is our gut reaction is And probably our more childish response is that, oh, look at what we found. Let's take it all, put it in a basket. We'll take it with us.
Mm-hmm.
And not leaving enough for others is, I think about just in a relationship and how important it is to, instead of thinking about all the things that you're not getting and missing out on, how you can improve the lives of others around you is a great way to kind of start that flow of changing the whole energy and perspective of a household. Because what was I always forget the name of this program that we went through, but it was not Advanced Energy and
Quantum
Love
with Dr. Laura Bergman.
Yeah, and she was great about just talking about the value of sometimes your spouse or the people in your house aren't on the same page. We'll use cleanliness as an example, right?
We were talking about that earlier today.
Yeah. And so you just start, instead of just grumbling and being mad that everybody is not cleaning up, you just start doing the things that need to be done, or sending that energetic, hey, we need to clean up. And it's interesting how that can kind of shift the energy of a family.
Yeah, so we want to err on the side of the good and of the abundance. And in that, when it comes to navigating other beings, animals and people, there are times where we can have a major desire to come in and to be the hero and to rescue. Maybe not even with the hero mentality. I mean, maybe for very beautiful reasons, there is a desire to swoop in and to save. And we've talked before, there's a song that was from a friend of ours in Nashville, Kevin Welch, that says you can't save everybody. Everybody don't want to be saved. Mm-hmm. And we have to recognize that as much as we may have the desire to save someone, that may not be the journey that they need. As much as we have a desire to save an animal, that may not be in the best interests of that animal for the quality of life we may be able to provide it, or for the fact that it's a wild being that needs to be out in nature, or whatever the reason is. So when we say love without ownership, it's not laying claim to someone or something, but recognizing that we can show some love and gratitude and respect for this thing we all can appreciate without having to stake a claim on it. Yeah.
Well, the other thing that was making me think of, or that I was thinking about while you were talking, was just the relationship with our children, and how, we want to impart so much wisdom that we have inside, but sometimes we realize that we might not be the teachers for that lesson for our kid.
Exactly.
And so compassionate love is allowing that child to have the freedom to go and meet other people that can be their teacher. And it might not be the same way that you would teach it, but the idea in the lesson is still out there. Like for me, if I've had the same conversation 3 or 4 times with my kids, it's like, you know what? It's not that they're not listening. I'm not listening to the fact that they're not listening.
At that point, it's a good opportunity, for us to recognize we may not be the one to tell them this.
Exactly. And that is hard to let go of as a parent, because you feel like that is really, it can for some parents be the perspective that this is on me. I have to raise this child. And it's a very good philosophy for you, even as a parent, to realize that you don't have to do it all. There's a community of people that, if you search that out through, love and compassion, then, you can find a like-minded community.
And if you don't, you're still going to have those other influences in their life.
They'll still come in, yeah.
They're still going to influence and impact. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to that reaping and sowing in an abundance mentality, it's recognizing that you may not be the only hero out there. You may not be the only word of wisdom or example or inspiration for somebody or something or some animal, whatever. And sometimes our need to manage a situation out of our love for somebody can end up sabotaging, first off, the relationship, and second off, an opportunity for someone else to step in and create a relationship. Right. I struggle with that. As the girls are getting older, I want to be the one to step in. The other day we had a great opportunity for me to bite my tongue because our middle applied for her first job. And And Ellie was, I encouraged her to walk to the place where she applied to see, to just kind of start being a face there. And my first thought is, I'm going with you, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And then I immediately started going into what's going to happen next. I'm going to talk the whole time, and I'm not going to give her any space to talk because I'm going to be so excited. And she's going to be nervous, and she's just going to shut down and let me do all the talking. I'm going to do all the talking. And I'm doing her a disservice. And as these, split seconds of thought are going through my head, Clara, her older sister, pipes up and says, "Hey, how about I go with you and we'll go and grab a coffee down there and I'll walk with you."
Whew.
Oh man, how
Count
beautiful.
the-
I didn't even
what's the number
suggest
you're
her
supposed to
walking
count?
over there first. That was
11?
the deal. Clara was the one that suggested the whole scenario without me being involved. And it was a whole different thing. I mean, they came back very confident and smiley, and I got a coffee out of the deal and didn't have to walk.
And
And
it gave them a chance to connect.
yeah, and it was a beautiful relationship solidifier for them that I had no part of. And
But could have steamrolled into and made yourself a part of.
right.
And so that speaks really highly of you as a compassionate mother to recognize that even though you could and you may, this isn't the only opportunity that you've been given. You'll have other opportunities to gloat about your daughter to lots of different people. And so this is just a new avenue for her to try that.
Right. And going back
without you.
Going back to the gorgeous flower fields, which if you are going to the blog that accompanies this, remember every podcast episode we have has a blog that goes along with it, where I usually write it like this one. And we're recording before I write the blog post. So that means I'm going to download the transcript, get inspired, and then kind of do my own variation of writing about this. On that, I guarantee you there's going to be some epic pictures of flowers because of this flower field that we went to. It was
cool.
It was incredible. And again, I think about that, and I think about the, trillions of seeds that didn't make it all the way to what we saw. And then I think about the abundance of what we actually saw. And then I think about the fact that, fields and fields of flowers, there's no way I can, I personally can take them all. And so it's just that understanding of the harvest. No, they're like, I want to bask in the beauty of what is there, and allow other people to appreciate it, both in its natural form and the ones that people could take. And still, yeah, I mean, there's so much left over. I think we came the week after 2 weeks of flower festivals there. And so apparently we had the picked over version, and I was blown away by all of it. Yeah. And I absolutely loved it. And boy, there's so much beautiful fruit we can put out there. And when I think of love, if you're going to put a visual on it, make it a flower. Love is a dahlia. Complex, intricate, lots of different little petals, vibrant in a variety of different colors, resilient, bounces back in different different locations.
Well, it's like what we tell our kids that, if you're in danger, go to a house that has lots of flowers.
Yeah. Because
there's a pretty good chance they're decent people.
Somebody's caring for those flowers. Yeah.
But that's a good thing to think about as you're kind of inventorying, yourself and the blooms that you want to make. Ashley and I were asking each other questions today.
Yeah.
That were kind of they're deep prodding questions. And one of the things that started to come out was how, what we think we're remembered for, and maybe sometimes our intentions aren't always what's absorbed or retained by other people. There's sometimes aspects of ourselves that are remembered that maybe we didn't intend to, or we didn't recognize that was the part of the vibe that we were giving off. And so it's just a reminder.
How you remember yourself is different than how you actually
are remembered by others.
Right. Yes.
Or
very much so.
Seen or perceived as others. And so you might think, well, I'm trying to keep it together and high and tight. And they're like, you're really loose and I don't feel comfortable, because there's too many openings or whatever. And so, you just don't know until you start to hear that about yourself. But it also speaks to, we're trying so hard to kind of control this world and the way we're perceived and seen in it. And maybe you should, just be more genuine and see what You know,
See where the fruit comes
where
from
the
that.
fruit comes from. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, compassionate heart philosophy. What can you love without any ownership, without any holding on to the outcome or the agenda? Simply love and let be. Let go, let be, and sit with that. There's so many ways that this can be translated, but the compassionate heart philosophy has helped us as we have navigated letting go of so many things. And whether that is a sweet kitten that we're able to rehome and find a better, or I say rehome, to find a home for, whether it's that or whether it's recognizing that, a bittersweet friendship has run its course, or we have a bittersweet end to a friendship that has run its course and a relationship that needs to stop. Or maybe it's letting go of that person
The
that
expectation of what you hoped would be, and accepting of what is, and how that can be used in the best way possible.
Or what other people will speak into the lives of those you care about that aren't quite hearing from the same story you are. So, practice compassion this week and every week. Be love. And remember, the uniqueness in each of us strengthens all of us. Namaste.
3. Up with the rising sun, already on the run. Mama says namaste. Life is a tangled mess, and you don't have to stress. Mama says namaste. 'Cause today I will stand up and be all the change that I want to see in this world. Boys and girls, you gotta have to stand up to be free. Namaste in your heart. Take a deep breath in and let's start a brand new day. With Mama says namaste.